Now this video here, you guys, it's gonna be a long video. This is gonna be a freaking long video because I'm gonna talk and talk and talk, and I'm not gonna cut a bunch of stuff out. And this is a freaking big cigar, so it's gonna be a long video. So I'm letting you know right now, I'm not gonna say this will be a quick one like I usually say. What's up, everybody? It's Roger, Working Man Cigars. Thank you for joining me today. Tonight, I'm excited about this cigar here, right? I'm gonna be smoking LFD Andalusian Bull. Of course, the lighting sucks, so, I mean, it is what it is. You guys know what this looks like. But this is such a beautiful cigar, man. This is such a nice looking cigar. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna start putting these disclaimers in the beginning of all my videos. This is not a review. This is not gonna be a short, quick, let you know how the cigar is, tasting notes, what I think it's worth, scale it, grade it, give it a price, whatever. I don't do reviews like that. So if you're here for that, you guys, that's not what I'm gonna do because I suck at it. So right off the bat. If you wanna see a good review on this cigar, you guys, a ton of good reviewers have reviewed this cigar, right? Watch, smoke one if you have one. Watch Senpapi Rick just smoked this recently, great review. Watch Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin. And of course, anybody in the new wave, right? There's some cigars out there that are very sought after, that are known as very good cigars. And rarely are you gonna find a cigar that everybody likes, right? You're rarely gonna find a cigar that everybody thinks is good. And sometimes I know people who have bought boxes of these without trying it just based off what everybody says. And that's usually how it goes, right? You're never too sure. That's how hype works. That's what hype does. And I mean, this cigar, MSRP's for 18 bucks. Well, actually, I'll talk about this once we got this lit. So let me cut it and light it. Again, look at this. Man, this is such a sick looking cigar that, like, even cutting it, lighting it, it makes me feel bad. Like, I don't know if, well. So I'm gonna try to use my torch and then finish it off with my soft flame because I don't really like using soft flame lighters too much. And I bought this new torch and it sucks. Man, this cigar is so sick, right? Very highly sought after. Now, here's the thing, right? Right now they're available. Like, sometimes they pop up. And then people everybody that knows what's up wants this cigar, likes this cigar. I have not met anybody that does not like this cigar. I also know people who love this cigar that have never smoked it, right? I smoked one and it was okay, but I had construction issues. I actually shot a review for that months ago, and one of the first reviews I did, and I didn't end up putting it out because it was such a bad video. Now, I know people who have bought this cigar strictly based off the hype. I know people who have bought boxes of this cigar without ever even having tried it yet, right? And I do know somebody who bought a box, smoked one, and was very underwhelmed, but then he heard that they have to be aged. So he was like, okay, and he's hoping that that's the case. Oh, wow. Okay, so in saying that, do I think that's a good thing or a bad thing? You guys know that I am a big hype guy. I am a huge hype guy. Hype in cigars, because I'm a newer smoker, it's kind of like the collecting aspect, the hunting aspect of that. It's still something that I'm very, like, in fact, in love with in the hobby. The hunt, the chase, finding some killer cigars, and you're like, dude, I came up, like, what the hell? And that's part of the fun, right? Is the hype. I do think hype can be bad, because if you end up spending too much money or overspending on a cigar, you can only get burned by the hype so many times, right? You can only get burned by it so many times before you start feeling like, man, this is kind of like, do I even know cigars? Do I have a bad palate? Do I have a broken palate? Like, why don't I like these cigars that everybody's talking about? And truthfully, the thing is, everybody's different. Everybody's different. So even though the general consensus might be that the cigar is a great cigar, you may still smoke it. You may still not like it. It's just how it goes. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you don't know good cigars, you don't have a good palate. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean you're not ready for that cigar, none of that. It just means you didn't like it. It doesn't fit your palate. That's it. Now, when it comes to hype and the Andalusian Bull, do I think the hype is bad? I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because this cigar, people that bought a box without ever smoking it, I don't think it's that bad of a move either. Because this cigar, MSRP is for like 18 bucks. This big ass, beautiful, elegant looking cigar is $18. Now, I used to feel more weary about saying 18 bucks is cheap for a cigar, because I used to be like, damn, I don't want people to say, dude, what are you talking about? You know what you're talking about. $18 is a high-end cigar, whatever. But then I don't really care anymore, because that's my opinion, right? And all you guys should know that by now. My opinion is different than other people's. To me, $18 for a cigar that's like hyped up is not that bad. And I have some comparisons and some things that maybe the hype is definitely not worth risking. Is kind of, I'll give you an example, a perfect example of where I think the hype may not be justified, right? Like the Opus X 20th anniversary. That cigar, MSRPs for like, the God's Whisper, MSRPs for like 38, 40 bucks. That cigar, you can find it online now for $115. So much more over MSRP. Now, I like that cigar. I love that cigar. But I'm not gonna tell somebody, oh yeah, risk it and buy a cigar that's way worth more in the aftermarket than you can get at MSRP. Pay that much more over MSRP because it's gonna be worth it. I can't say that, right? But this cigar, like for MSRP, when you can find them, because some people do find them, it's easier to find these at MSRP every now and then. I think it's worth it. And that's why I think the hype with this cigar is either justified or it's not that bad, because they don't get marked up that much. The most expensive I've ever seen these before were 55 bucks. Now, if somebody wants to get the math and compare the $40 to the $115 that Opus and say, well, it's times 3. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just talking about, I'm just keeping it simple. You know, 55 bucks for a cigar that you can try, that people talk about a lot, and you to scratch that itch to know if it's worth it or not, I don't think it's crazy. I will tell you this. The one and only other Andalusian Bull that I ever smoked, because when I found them for, again, 55 bucks, didn't buy that, regretted it so much, but I went straight to my regular B&M because I was thinking if the cigar shop has them, they might be at my B&M. And sure enough, they were there. It was in the corner. I was like, look at the fucking Bulls. I couldn't believe it. I bought like 4 of them. Waited 4 months. I set a reminder on my phone to be able to smoke one in 4 months because I knew they were going to be fresh. And it was okay, but it had construction issues that mostly my fault, and it didn't taste anything amazing, right? So I was kind of like let down. And this one was graciously gifted by Peter the Cigar Collective, and this one comes with 2 years of age. Now, freaking Peter the Cigar Collective, you guys know who he is? He bought a box of Bulls the other day. He has Bulls already, but he likes the cigar, so he buys them. He has Bulls that are like a few months old. And then he has some that are 2 years old, and I'm sure he has some that are older. I'm lucky enough to be one of the guys that got one of these cigars sent from him, and he sends it out to a ton of other guys. Does he send the newer ones that, you know, still have to get aged and aren't really, that wouldn't give the best smoking experience? No. He sends the aged ones. He sends the ones that he's been sitting, that he's been collecting, because he knows that whoever smokes it is going to get like a better smoking experience out of it. And that's one of the reasons Peter is I consider him like a really good friend, man, and a super good guy, is just because he does stuff like that, right? And I'm not saying it just because he did it with me. He does it with a bunch of people. A ton of guys. When I'm like, damn, bro, you sent him that bull? You sent him the fresh bull or the one that's got some age? With age. And I'm like, man, bro, better man than me. Man, I actually also got this cigar sent over by a subscriber. His name's Terrence. He's another good friend of mine. He's freaking cool. I don't talk to him that much, but out of nowhere, we'll start talking about certain cigars or something for a bit. And I always enjoy talking to him. And he found a box of these for sale, picked them up right away, sent me a link right away. And then within 2 weeks, I got a package from him, and he had sent me one of these. So, along with a bunch of other cool stuff. So that's the whole thing about the cigar community. It's so freaking cool, man. Like, you meet so many cool people, so many generous people. It's cool, man. And this cigar, smoking way different than the other one. All right, let me talk about the cigar. So now, I am getting a bit of a wonky burn here. It's not like a super crisp burn line, but it's okay because it's, you know, I'm smoking outside still, and I got my air purifier on, and everything's moving around. And I've been swinging this thing around like a bat, so no biggie. And I honestly, man, I don't care about burn lines, dude. I say that, but when I see a nice burn line, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I don't know, something about it is just sick, man. When you see a super crisp burn line, and then you see like the ash super thick and white and just stacked up, it's like, fuck yeah. So something that I'm getting with this cigar that I wasn't getting with the last one I smoked, and for comparison, the last bull that I smoked had 4 months of age. This one has 2 years of age. And I know we've talked about how people say that aging a cigar only changes its strength and only changes, like, it mellows it out. It doesn't change the flavors. I personally do not agree with that, right? I'm strictly speaking based off my experience, so this is just anecdotal evidence, right? Which, it's not evidence, anecdotal experience. You know, that's it. I have smoked a few cigars, quite a bit cigars that are aged, because for my B&M, some of them are very old because people don't buy them. And online, when you get cigars that are fresh, that they're moving a ton of cigars, they do taste different. To me, they do taste different. I did not get any sweetness with the last bull that I smoked. The last bull that I smoked was peppery, was pretty heavy, was pretty bold, and it was a pretty punchy cigar, man. It was fucking really strong. And it also had it smoked a lot. Like, it had very thick smoke, but when I retrohaled, it was a little bit, not harsh, but compared to this one, it was harsh. And the other one had like a bit of a bitter note. I remember clearly thinking, okay, like, I'm getting that note that I think people say is like an espresso coffee-ish note. And I was getting that. This one, I'm getting more of a nutty note, and I'm getting some sweetness. Very light sweetness, but it's there. Man, this is such a freaking sick cigar, man. Oh, man. I'm so freaking happy with this cigar. Again, thank you, Peter. He sent me one of these. Thank you, Terrence, who sent me one of these. And from now on, anytime I see some of these, I'm going to buy more of them, because they are freaking good cigars, man. All right, guys, I'm going to keep smoking this down, and then I'll go ahead and check in. Look at this. Now the burn line is starting to correct. Look at this beautiful burn line. Yeah, remember, I don't care about burn lines, all right? But look at this one. Look at this one. Damn, look at this freaking burn line. So rare to find somebody that says they don't like this cigar. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and check back in a bit. All right, everybody, so here we are into this Andalusian Bull. Look at this, man. I had just hit up Peter right now. I was like, damn, Peter, thank you again, man, because this cigar is smoking amazingly. I mean, I'm not done with the cigar yet, right? I'm barely getting into the first third. This is a thick-ass cigar, too. It takes a while. If I would have smoked one last year and it went well, it would have been in my top list for sure. I actually just sent the guys a picture of the Bull that I smoked a few months ago, and it didn't smoke well because it had so many construction issues. The wrapper blew up here, and then it actually had a crack that went all along the back. And I actually posted that picture on Instagram, and I'll probably share it here. I tossed that review because I wasn't gonna do the cigar justice. And it didn't smoke as good. It didn't taste as good. Like I mentioned earlier, it does taste different. The flavors are different. I didn't know if it was gonna get that much better, but I know last year the one that I smoked wasn't like one of my most memorable ones because it was a rough experience. But if I would have smoked this one a few months ago, this would have been on my top list for sure because it's a really good cigar, man. I'm getting a bit of that molasses sweetness, right? For me, the molasses sweetness is a darker type of sweetness. Lighter cigars that have a sweet note to me tend to give me like a marshmallowy or a charred marshmallow sweetness, and the darker ones tend to give me like a molasses sweetness, and that's what this one's giving me. Now this one is giving me something strange that I don't get often, but I have gotten it before, and it only does it in the retrohale towards the end, and it's a little bit, it's gonna sound crazy again, it's a little bit of a minty note, like a tiny tinge of a minty note. Is that in tasting notes? Do people got that with the cigars? No. And this is why I don't like doing the tasting notes thing, because sometimes I pick up stuff that's weird. Like I've picked up bubble gum. I've picked up like now like the mint, the Lay's, like the potato chips kind of thing. Not often, right? But when I do, I'm like happy about it because I don't usually get tasting notes. So for me, I'm getting a little bit of a minty note only at the retrohale towards the end. Yeah. A little bit of a minty note. Now, even though the cigar is burning nice ash and everything, I feel like I'm not able to get the most smoke out of it like I want because of the ash. So, I'm gonna ash it. I got to. Dang, that's a nice looking ash too. Now, I'm gonna try to get a box of these cigars, and I'm gonna try to let them like age. But I was thinking this cigar here would have been a perfect cigar for like a special long occasion, right? Like when I did the new wave, if I would have had a Bull that was like aged enough, I would have liked to smoke one then, because it would have been perfect, you know? Enjoying a good cigar, special occasion, and it's like a good cigar for a special occasion and a long occasion, right? Because those lives are long. So definitely that would have been a perfect time for this cigar. I just clipped the back a little bit more because the jaw was getting a little bit tight, and I just clipped it a little bit more, and instantly like I got a different taste. I was getting a little bit of a nutty note, and now it's kind of gone. Now it's gone. I'm surprisingly not getting very much like a woody note. No cedar, no nothing like that. It's just been that molasses type of sweetness. I was getting that nutty sweetness, that little bit of a minty note towards the end at the retrohale, and something else that I can't really put my finger on, but it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable cigar for sure. All right, so here we are down. I don't technically think this is the final third yet, but bands are off. They were pretty loose. They were coming off already, so I took them off. I did smoke quite a bit of a cigar. I was enjoying it quite a bit, and then I actually started getting a little bit of a nicotine kick. Like I feel it right now a little bit still. So I haven't really felt like checking in, but so this cigar is so interesting, right? I sometimes get like a nicotine punch when people can taste like, or when people can say, oh damn, this cigar has a lot of nicotine. Like they can kind of taste it right off the bat. I'm not able to do that. I only know when it's like pretty strong when I start after I'm, been smoking it for a while. And this one definitely has that. I believe that's going to happen with any cigar that is, a fuller bodied cigar, and also is such a big cigar like this one. So I actually started smoking it a lot slower than I'm used to. I've been out here for like an hour and 45 minutes, and I still got maybe another, if I keep smoking it slow like I have been, I got like another hour here. So this cigar definitely is worth the money. It's worth paying a little bit of markup for this, in my opinion, right? Because you get to enjoy the cigar for such a long time. Now, anytime a cigar is a little bit stronger and like you're worried about the nicotine, smoking slower will take care of that. And it's kind of what I resorted to. Now with the shape, I clipped it just a tiny bit, I don't like cutting too much off the back, and it had a good draw. The more I was smoking it, the more I had to keep cutting it, just to get that good draw. And the draw tends to get a little bit more restricted, and once you cut it, it opens back up, and it's like a whole different type of tasting notes come to life. So I haven't smoked many LFDs. I know Cigar Hound Dog just recently did a review of the Chisel Maduro. I'm not sure, but I ordered some because I want to try it and see if it's good. But it's interesting, right? I got to smoke more LFDs to see if I like them. One thing about certain brands, right? You hear a bunch of stuff about certain cigars, right? You hear how some cigars are limited or some cigars are expensive because they're hard to make or that's special tobacco. You hear a bunch of weird stuff like that, right? And you always have to wonder how much of that is true, how much of that is actually is marketing, and how much of that is actually what's causing the cigar to be limited, or what's causing the cigar to not be able to bring up a lot of production on it. So it's interesting sometimes that you hear that a lot. I'll give you an example, like the Warped Black Honey. I found one in Vegas and I smoked one in Vegas, and it was a good cigar, really good cigar. Not amazing, but at the same time I smoked it, I bought it in Vegas at a shop, and I smoked it like a day or two later. So I don't think it probably wasn't ready to smoke right away, because it did feel a little bit spongy, but it was still a good cigar. So when the new Black Honey was gonna be released, people were super hyped about it, right? Like, I bought that cigar on pre-order. Like, I was worried I wasn't gonna be able to get it. They made it sound super limited. And again, the Black Honey, Warped Black Honey, was supposed to be this crazy limited cigar. Special tobaccos or whatever, released every 45 years. So I thought, damn man, I really wanna get that cigar because it's gonna go quick. There's not gonna be much like there hasn't been in the past. That was like 2 months ago. And now, if you check online right now, a lot of websites, a lot of people still have them. A lot of people even let you discount them when you're buying them, right? So it's like, it's easy for us to judge and say companies get greedy, or if the initial limited release was done with special tobaccos, with a certain tobacco, they tried really hard to produce a lot of them to be able to keep up with demand, and that way they could sell more and make more money. It's easy to judge that and say that that's greed, or they're greedy and the companies are trying to make more money. But everybody wants to make more money, man. How many of you guys don't want to make more money? How many of you guys don't wish that you can find a way to get more money out of wherever you work, or more money out of your customers? Very few people are going to say, no, I wouldn't do that. But man, it's hard to not see more money right there in front of you that you could just take, right? And so I don't really blame companies for doing that. Companies are out there to make money, and it's their goal to bring in money, right? They don't get paid off being good-natured or being honest all the time. Like, as much as it's their job, man, to make more money. And it's our job as a consumer to, decide whether we want to spend more money on that. And that's one thing I think people found out with this recent release of Black Honey, that it just wasn't that good, and it didn't live up to it. And a lot of people haven't bought it. That's why there's still so many available. And that's how it goes, right? They're doing their part. We got to do our part, which is, criticize honestly the cigar, or criticize the product honestly, and see if it's worth it or not. So to me, LFD could start producing the crap out of these bulls, right? They don't have the original binder for that cigar or the original filler, so they're like, you know what? Let's just use this other one. This other one from the same country. Let's just use that. People won't really notice, and even if they do, too late. They already bought the cigar, right? They can think like that. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying they can do that if they wanted to. And even though this cigar has been hyped up for a few years, and it's always really hard to get for a few years, they still haven't, to me, I didn't see that they have gotten greedy and started trying to mass produce these and kind of ruin the cigar like Aganorsa Leaf with the Supreme Leaf, right? I'm gonna say the Supreme Leaf, I think, did that. Because that cigar used to be such a good cigar. But again, every time they sold out, they didn't see it as like, hell yeah, we sold out, we made good money. They view it as like, shit, we lost out on so much more potential money if we made more of them and we're able to sell more. That's how they're gonna view things. That's why, for as much shit as people talk about Opus and they're overpriced and stuff like that, I think it's not that bad because they aren't choosing to just start mass producing these sought after cigars and fuck up the quality just because they want to sell a lot of them. And to me, it's admirable. It's like, cool, man. They're sticking to their quality. They're sticking to their values. And the LFD has done that with the Bull time and time again. They can't just start pumping these out and selling, you know, shittier ones, and they have not done that. So because of that, it makes me view LFD as like a good brand because they decided to not do that. Another person that did this is Steve Saka, right? People say he makes up a bunch of stuff to sell the unicorns. He lies and says all this stuff about the tobacco being special and this and that, and he handpicked it. But I do, in a sense, I do believe him. The Todos los Dias line was a good cigar. That, like, if you guys saw my most memorable cigars, the Todos los Dias is a cigar that I loved. I really like that cigar, and a lot of people really like that cigar. To the point where he was in an interview talking about how they would ask him, when are you going to start making the Todos los Dias again? And Steve Saka said, I'm not going to make that cigar anymore because the tobacco that I used to make that cigar is now being allocated to a different cigar. And like he said, sure, I can fill other tobacco in that cigar and package it the same and say, here you go, Todos los Dias, back again. He's like, but I'm not going to do that. And I remember thinking, that's cool, man. That's why Steve Saka's freaking cool. That's why I do trust and believe a lot of the stuff that he says. And his cigars are freaking good, right? If his cigars were shit, then we would know that he's lying or that he's full of crap. So yeah, you guys, pretty much this overview was for fun, right? I was just going to tell you guys how I enjoyed the cigar, how it smoked for me. Because for the most part, anybody watching this, anybody that's checking out this cigar, whoever has stuck around this long to join me while I'm smoking this, you pretty much know this is a good cigar. And all of you probably want to smoke the cigar or trying to find it, or if you have found it, you have some and you enjoy it. It's what it is, right? So I appreciate anybody that stuck around just to watch this overview. Damn, man, my memory card got full. Shit. Damn, what was I talking about? Anyways, I think, damn, I can't remember what I was talking about. But either way, I think I bought like 5 minutes because I deleted like a short little clip of something else. So another thing I wanted to mention was I do the Cigars Unbanded episodes, and I do that with Peter the Cigar Collective and Cigar Side Chats Felipe. Very good friends of mine. I talk to them so much. When I was scrolling through something to look for a picture, my wife was sitting next to me. She's like, you talk to those guys that much? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, dude, you talk to them way more than you talk to me. I love doing that live with them. I love talking to them. And I always, every time I do a live with people, I'm like, cool, man, I like doing lives. I want to do a live by myself. But doing lives by yourself freaking sucks, man. Like, it's freaking horrible. But I do want to do it, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to do a live. But I don't want to do it strictly by myself. I want to do a live, and then whoever tunes in, if somebody wants to turn on their camera or their phone and join on for like 15 minutes, I've always kind of wanted to do something like that. Like, do it and have people like, okay, whoever's in here in the comments, hey man, you want to jump on for 15 minutes and like talk and like, you know, we'll shoot the shit. Then you jump off, then bring somebody else on. So I kind of want to do something like that. I don't know if it's feasible. I know that easier said than done, but I think that is something that I'm going to be doing here soon. Let me know if anybody would really want to do that, because I would hate to do it and then expect that I'm going to get help. I'm going to get somebody helping me jumping on, and then nobody does, and I'm stuck on there by myself again, because doing a live by yourself, you guys, it's freaking tough, man. Like, even hearing the little background noises from other people's mics while they're on is comforting, because when it's just you and it's pitch silence, it's freaking awkward. So if any of you can let me know in the comments, if I were to do a live like that and ask for some of you guys to jump on, join on, how many of you would want to do that? And if you guys are down, let me know so I can kind of, so I can plan on doing something like that. All right? Alrighty, guys. Well, that's pretty much it, man. I had to buy a little bit of time on my memory. If you guys like the overview, if you guys enjoyed it, have any comments, share your experience with the Andalusian Bull. Share your experience, whether you got to smoke it or if you finally got to get one, if it was underwhelming, if it lived up to the hype, whatever. Share in the comments, man. Let everybody know what you think. And I hope you guys enjoyed the overview. I'll catch you on the next one, all right? Thank you.